My name's David Rodwin, and this is The Life. So it's Thanksgiving today, and I was going to do this whole long vlog of all the things that I'm grateful for, but instead, I want to share with you a revelation that I had last night. I got an email from the Writers Boot Camp announcing they're having their monthly contest, always based on a theme. And they want you to send in a feature script or a TV pilot idea that is based on that theme. Well, of course, for Thanksgiving, they decided to make the theme about families. And I started going through all of my scripts and all of my pitches and all of my treatments. We're talking about dozens and dozens and dozens, literally over 100. And I found that almost none of them had to do with family. And I started to panic about this for a minute. I'm thinking, wow, I really don't think about my family. I don't care about my family. I don't love my family. And then I began to look at it from a different perspective. And part of that is, as a writer, generally speaking, I write about what's going on in my life. And I don't have my own family. Instead, I have a family of friends. So many of my scripts are about groups of families that are not actually related to one another. Misfits who band together and things like that. And that brought me to two different thoughts. The first thought was, man, how ungrateful am I that I've never written anything about my family? But then I flipped that idea on its head this morning, and I realized after speaking with my mother and my brother and my father that I actually don't have many big problems with my family. And the reason for that is I had a blessed childhood. My childhood was so awesome that my brother called me up a few years ago and he said he was doing one of his life reenactment weekends. So what that meant was my brother lives in Boulder, and everyone in Boulder is always doing life transformational things to heal the past, and my brother was spending an entire weekend with a friend of his who got together with a big group and a leader, and they would go through their entire childhood and every traumatic moment that this person was needing to work out and resolve, they would actually reenact that person's childhood. The person gets to play themselves, and their friends, whom they trust, get to play the parents, the teachers, whoever it was who traumatized them. Now, my brother really took joy in doing this, partially because it really helped his friends, he thought, and the second reason is that, well, he acted when he was, in high school and stuff, and he hasn't really done very much of that since then, and this was a chance to literally do play acting. Now, he'd done this for at least half a dozen of his friends, and finally one day, the leader came up to him and said, "Hey, Scott, how would you like to do this for your childhood? Heal all of those painful memories." And my brother looked at him and said, thanks for the offer, but I don't really have any. And the leader looks at him, disappointed, saddened, and says, "Listen, I understand that you're really blocked and it's something that you don't feel comfortable addressing yet, but I really want you to take a hard look at your childhood and see what things you can really grab onto and heal, because I know you're just in denial." And my brother said, no, really, I had a great childhood. Things have been really hard ever since I graduated from college, and I've had to live on my own and to actually make a living as an architect and to build a firm and to try and find space to make my art and relationships with women, my God. But when I was younger, my childhood was fantastic. My parents were great. I lived in a wonderful place. I had woods to play in the backyard. I had a brother who I would taunt and tickle on a regular basis. My childhood was great. And the leader just looked at him again, just hanging his head in sadness that he's just so deeply, deeply blocked that he can't even admit that he needs the help. And the leader starts yelling at my brother saying, "Why are you so resistant to this? We're just trying to help you." My brother is saying, "Really, really, truly, I had a perfect childhood." So I think my brother isn't doing those life reenactments anymore, but it's amazing how hard it is for some people to believe that one had a good childhood. And it's interesting to look at all the ideas that I came up with. Not one of them is spending any time working out all the problems from my youth, because quite frankly, I didn't have any. And if that isn't something to be grateful for, I don't know what is. My name's David Rodwin, and this is The Life. No internet working is this bohemian equivalent of having no firewood in the 19th century in Paris. It's like, that's what you live on, it's what keeps you warm, it's what makes it possible for you to do anything all day long.